Yo, 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 what's happening, people? Okay, we is live right now. Live from the village right now. Did we just have a little stutter right now? I think we might have, right now. But it seems to be okay right now. It seems to be okay. And that's a good thing. Let me put this over here. And that over there. This is the AI version of me. Or is it? Am I the real Haze or the AI Haze? Has AI gotten this good to the point where it can mimic a person exactly how they are? Maybe Haze isn't really here, and this is just an AI generated image that's mimicking his likeness, his voice, his mannerisms, and mimicking it perfectly, so perfectly that nobody can tell the difference. Maybe. Or maybe I'm the real Haze. What up, Isaline? How you been? How's your day going? I had an interesting few days, actually. I had a passenger in my cab yesterday. Was it yesterday? It was yesterday. Wait a minute, what day is today? No, it wasn't yesterday. It was maybe a couple of days ago. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I had a passenger in my cab. I pulled up, right? And today has been okay. What about you? My day's been all right. It was snowing earlier today for a little bit. And my hands still feel a little bit cold, but we're doing okay. But yeah, this passenger came to pick her up. And as soon as I got there, normally I would try to confirm their name. You say hello, good morning, good afternoon, that sort of thing, confirm their name. Before I can do any of that, she was immediately saying something about waiting time or something, like, why is there waiting time? And I'm thinking, what? Wait, what? Like, I was kind of thrown off guard. I'm not gonna lie, I was thrown off guard because I used to people just like immediately complaining about something. Haven't even said hello yet, literally just turned up and there's a complaint. I'm like, what? Stop complaining about waiting time. Anyway, there was no waiting time. It was just something that she saw on the app, and she thought it meant, I guess she thought it meant that she was being billed for a waiting time, and it wasn't that. But it turns out there was an incident before I picked her up, and perhaps why, well, not even perhaps, certainly the reason why she was a bit on guard, so to speak, is that apparently what happened, I wasn't really speaking to her, by the way. I decided it's probably a good idea for me to not speak to her, but she was on the phone to the Uber cab company, and she was complaining about something that happened. I won't go into too many specifics, of course, but she was complaining about something that happened, and with a previous driver. And here's the thing, like, this is kind of my takeaway from this whole thing. Is like, when something happens, something bad happens, right? Somebody does something they shouldn't do, somebody behaves in a way they shouldn't behave, it causes you some kind of delay or whatever, things like that. You have every right to be upset about it. However, I do think it's important to remember that how you deal with a problem could often be the difference between a problem being something relatively straightforward that gets resolved relatively quickly, and a problem becoming a much bigger issue than it really needs to be. You know what I mean? Like, I think how you deal with an issue matters. Like, not to say that it makes it okay for people to do what they did or things like that. Of course not, it doesn't make it okay. But how you choose to handle a problem could often be the difference between a problem getting resolved and a problem, going on longer than it needs to be. Because I gotta say, this woman wasn't exactly being nice to whoever was speaking to her on the phone. She really wasn't. Like, she wasn't being nice with them, and maybe they weren't being particularly helpful themselves. I wouldn't really know, but from what I can hear, yeah, for at least from my side of it, she weren't being too nice. And it was like, you know what, how you handle issues it could be the difference. You know what I mean? It could really be the difference, because end of the day, it's like, if somebody's explaining something to you and you're not letting them explain it, or you're constantly talking down on people. You know, you're speaking to them like you're above them, and you know they're just beneath you, and or you're speaking to people like they're stupid. You know, that kind of thing, or that taking that kind of sort of tone and attitude with people. It's a difference between it can be the difference, I should say, not always, but it can be the difference between a problem being dealt with efficiently and a problem going on longer than it needs to. But hey, what do I know? What do I know? I know it's if you're polite, they usually want to help you. No, indeed, and this is true. This is true, and I've worked in customer services. I've worked in telesales, so I've been on the receiving end of people just like getting mad and shouting at you. What up, Natalie? Good afternoon. Have a great day. Appreciate you coming through, Natalie. 50 and Fabulous. If you don't know, better get to know. Fashion by Natalie posts videos of how to look good on a without spending a lot of money. 50 and Fabulous, how you doing, Nat? Appreciate you coming through. Appreciate you and all that you do. But yeah, I used to work in customer services. I used to work on the telesales. Well, I did telesales as well, but I used to work on the telephones. What I meant to say. And yeah, you get people shouting at you and all that kind of stuff. And you still help people, of course, because at the end of the day, it's your job too. Like you can't just not help somebody just because they're being rude. Unfortunately, right? You still got to help them. But yeah, it really can be the difference between something being resolved, because a lot of the times the issues are relatively small in that you can handle the issue. They're either not really explaining what the exact problem is because they're too busy trying to be rude, or too busy just shouting, or you know, too busy talking down on you, or you know, that kind of thing, and they're not really saying what exactly is the problem. So like you're just kind of there being shouted at, being somebody's verbal punch bag, and it's like 3-4 minutes into the call, you don't really know what the actual issue is. So when you're trying to find out what the problem is, they're talking to you like you're stupid, like, and when they haven't even actually explained what the issue is, you know, they're like, "Why don't you know? It's like I've been explaining this." It's like, no, you actually haven't explained it. What the issue is? You've just been shouting at me, like. So like, yeah, it can be the difference. And I get it. You have every right to be upset when things are causing you problems, or things are causing you to be delayed, or causing you to have to make a phone call that you don't want to have to make because you got other things you'd rather be doing. So I get it. You have every right to be upset. But at the same time, how you choose to handle it is the difference between an issue taking 5 minutes to resolve and an issue taking 50 minutes to resolve. You know what I mean? Like, that can often be the case. Not always, but that could sometimes be the, let me not say often, that could sometimes be the case, I should say. Let me not overshoot it too much. It could sometimes be the case. Honestly, would never go out of my way. They're rude. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it, really. Like, you do what you need to do because it's your job, but you're not doing any extra. You're not doing any extra, like, for the most part. You just kind of do what you have to do. You basically do the bare minimum to not get fired. And so yeah, you still help them in the end, but it's bare minimum help, really. Walking my dog, but still listening, just being silent. All right, how's the little doggy? How's the little pup? Is he settling in okay? Yo, what up, Alan Evans? Alan Evans in the Bevans. Alan, you got a dog. Maybe you can give Isleen some dog advice. How long have you had your dog, Alan? It's a Staffordshire, right? Is that right? I think I remember you saying you had a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. How long have you had the Staffy for? Hey, Ian, a place to be. How is ye? On this Tuesday evening. He's a lively one now. Oof. I had this dog in my car. That sounded so rude. I had this dog in my car. But no, one passenger I had today had a puppy with her, and as soon as I stopped to pick her up, like, they ain't even got in the car yet, and the dog's already barking at me like, "Arr, arr." And she was like, I'm sorry, he's friendly, really. I was like, that's fine, it's fine. But like, she was just dog was just barking at me. "Arr." and growling, and it was only a small little dog as well, just a small little dog just growling at me. I don't know why. I'm like, well, I just go ahead, what did I do? Dog just growling at me, but he calmed down though. When he got in the car, he growled at me for a little bit, for maybe like a few minutes, and then he calmed down, and then for the most of the journey, it was kind of calm. Then maybe like a couple of minutes before we stopped, he started growling and barking at me again. I'm like, oh man, I thought we're getting along now. I thought we were friends now. But yeah, it's so good. I had a dog. Oh, sorry, man. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring that up. I'm sorry. Rest in peace. Yo, what up, Brax Bivy? Brax Bivy in a place to bivy. How was Yivy? I wouldn't mind having a dog. Like, maybe not now, but you know, sometime in the future, maybe. But I think it'd be cool to have a dog when you're like, not like old, but maybe like 60. I feel like 60 is a good age to have a dog. You know, like around about that age. Like if you're still relatively kind of fit yourself, not like, I don't mean like an athlete kind of fit, but let's say you get to 6 years old and you're still relatively healthy, where you can still go on walks, you know, you can still, you know, do that kind of stuff, right? I feel like that's a good time to have a dog, because then it's like you can still take it for walks. You can still, it can help you keep fit as well, because it encourages you to go out and walk more and that kind of thing. And I think like that age, you kind of got more time for the dog as well. You know what I mean? Like when you're sort of in your 60s, you got more time for dogs. I don't know. That's why I say it anyway. That's why I say it. Of course, plenty of people not 60 have dogs and they do just fine. So what do I know? What do I know? B-Day is on Saturday. Okay. Happy birthday to you. How old you gonna be on Saturday, Brax? What's the number that's coming up? How many years on this earth would it be this coming Saturday? Old enough to know better, young enough to learn. Oh, wow. Well, indeed. Well. Always gonna keep learning. I spoke to a lady today. She's an Italian lady who teaches Spanish in a secondary school. And so we're talking about Spanish, and you know, I learned a little bit of Spanish recently, and she was asking me, you know, why did I choose to learn Spanish? And I said to her, like, I just kind of got to a point where I realized I like to learn stuff. You know, when I was in school, I don't think the learning was the issue when I was in school. It's more like, I guess more like the structure and the whole kind of system of it never sat well with me. So, I mean, I did okay in school. You know, I didn't fail too badly. Well, yeah, depends how you define too badly. But, I mean, I did pretty reasonably okay, I think. But I never really liked the whole kind of structure of school. I mean, now I think of school as being some of the best days of my life when I think back on it. But when I was there, it was always that, you know, thing of not really wanting to be there, rather be doing something else. But the truth is, I think learning is important. I think you should never stop learning something, you know. So like, just in the last, you know, year or so, maybe 2 years, you know, I've learnt some French, I've learnt some Spanish, little bits of other languages, but I've also learned about gardening. I've learned more about cooking and specifically making stuff, you know, making peanut butter. making jam, making mayonnaise, things like that. Hot sauce, making hot sauce. Made and regarding it, made fertilizer, made plant fertilizer. Learn how to do that. You know, learn how to about composting. You know, and there's so much to learn out there. There's so much to learn. You're never gonna learn it all, of course, I know. But I feel like it's good to just be in the habit of learning things, like learning new stuff and learn it in things you didn't know or things you might not have given much thought to, because I feel like you just become stagnant otherwise, right? Like when you become, because that's the thing about getting older, like you become stagnant. It's very easy to become very just kind of set in your ways and, oh, this is the way to do things, and this is the way I've always done things, and this is the best way to do things, and my generation and music now is terrible, and music hasn't been good since, and you know, it's very easy to become that kind of cranky old git. You know what I mean? And that's something that I've never wanted. Like, and part of that is keep learning, like keep being open to learning stuff. You know, don't just like decide, oh, it's too late for me now. I didn't start when it's like, so what if, I mean, you don't have to become a master at everything. You know what I mean? You don't have to become a master piano player or a master guitar player or a master, you know, language learner. You don't have to be a master at everything or a master chef. Like, you can just learn stuff, and you know, and some stuff you're going to learn a little bit of, some stuff you're going to learn a little bit more of. And maybe some stuff you will become a master at, right? But you don't have to be. That's not really the point. The point isn't to be the best. It's just to be better than you were before. You know, like 4 or 5 months ago, the only Spanish words I knew was like hola, you know, and maybe gracias, and that's it, you know. That's about it. Mucho gracias, or, you know. You know, that's about all I knew. Now I could say sentences in Spanish. And that's only been in the last few months. You know what I mean? It's mad. Like, you go from knowing this much to knowing this much in a few months. And that's just being like, yeah, why not? Why not me? So many people out there speak multiple languages. Why can't I be one of them? You know, so what if I didn't start when I was 15? You know, so what? I can start now. You know, I can start now. And if I never learn it all, that's all right. If I never become a master at it, it's all right. I don't have to be. But I know more Spanish now than I did 3-4 months ago. And that's something. I know more French now than I did, you know, 8-9 months ago. And that's something, you know. And keep learning. Always keep learning. Always be open to learn things. In school, we are forced to learn. We, as outside of school, we are not. It's optional, and also we can choose what we want to learn. I think that's definitely a part of it. I think that's definitely a part of it. Like, I think the feeling of being in school is like you kind of feel like you have to be there, even though you don't really want to be. You'd rather be just at home playing video games or something, right? And because of that, you're not always paying attention as much as you should be, and that kind of thing. But yeah, man, gotta keep learning. So you keep getting better, learning new things, learning new skills, learning about the world. I mean, the world is constantly changing, right? The world is constantly changing, like constantly, like it doesn't stop moving. Like, I live in London, and London, if you come to London today, right, and you look around London, you go everywhere in London and you have a great time, or not, you know, whatever. But you come to London today and you go all around London, you see all about everything you can see in London, right? Come back in about 5 years and it's going to be a completely different city. Come back in 10 years and it'd be super unrecognizable. You know what I mean? London is constantly changing. The world, and that's just London. Like, the world is constantly changing. Like, the way we interact, the way we communicate, the way we do business, the way we do just about anything is always evolving, right? So if you're not willing to learn new things, you're just going to get left behind. You're going to get left behind. You know, it's not a thing. It's just, I mean, it's a thing. It's like everything moves, and when everything moves and you're refusing to stay still, eventually you just get left behind. You know, it's like, you ever see businesses that don't take credit cards. Like they don't take any kind of credit cards. You know, they're just like cash only businesses. Like they're eventually just going to get left behind. Like I could all but guarantee that any business that only does cash would get left behind. Like give it 5 years. Give it 5 years. If they're not moving into credit cards, if they don't start, they're going to get it, because the way, especially in a place like London, like maybe in parts of the world, it might have more than 5 years, but I think in London, it's not happening. Like so many people have moved towards contactless payments, like on your phone. And so, and although a lot of places, I think, well, pretty much every place still accepts cash, you can see it being phased out. You can see it being, like it's the writings on the wall, it's being phased out. You know, even now, like there's so many shops, like especially like there's a lot of like newer businesses, they just don't even take cash. You go to a cafe, like I promise you, you could go to any cafe, it would have, it'd be, yeah, no cash, card only. Specifically contactless cards, not even like the card machine, it's a contactless where you just like tap, boop, and it that's the future. That's the future. That's the future as I see it. So if you're going to be a business in London and only take cash, you're going to get left behind. So yeah, got to keep moving. If you're not willing to learn how to get a how to get a card machine installed in your business, you're going to get left behind. There's places from just 2 years ago that don't exist no more. Indeed. And indeed. I never carry cash, card only. I very rarely carry cash, I'd say. The only cash I would typically have with me is if I'm going somewhere that I know is like cash only and I specifically need cash for that. And again, there's not many places like that anymore. So like if I'm doing stuff like that, then I'll have cash with me. Other than that, more time I'm not going to have it. Like I might have some spare change every now and then. You know, if somebody's giving me a tip and it was a cash tip, I might have that on me. But as a rule, yeah, any day of the week, no cash in my wallet. Yeah, it's card only. And even my cards, I don't even take my cards out. It's just like you do a contactless on your phone and it's done. So much more convenient. So much, and it's safer as well. It's so much safer as well, because if you lose your cards, it's very easy to get them cancelled. If you lose your phone, it's already secured anyway, especially if you've got like a thumbprint or anything like that on your phone, it's secured anyway. So you got a while before they can break into your phone to do anything with it. It's so much safer. I know why people don't. I know there's reasons why people rather not do cash, rather not do cards and prefer cash. I know there's, I know why. I get it. I'm not even mad at it. I get it. You know, I'm not even mad at it. I get it. But the reality is that, especially in the cities, like if you're in places that are a bit more, say, rural, might be fine. But in the cities, yeah, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I could all but guarantee you just won't see anywhere that's cash only. They'd have to, yeah, because it's like, it just doesn't happen. Like, even the people who do Big Issue, the people who sell Big Issue, they take cards now. You see people selling Big Issue, they take cards now. You know, they have to, like, because it's what they have. Let me get my card machine out. Like, ooh. Anyway, it's a bit of a tangent. The point I was making is that you got to be willing to learn new things, because if you're not willing to learn new things, you're just going to get left behind. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon you'll be left behind. All the shops where I live have car. Well, there you go. Even in Peterborough, bro. Even in Peterborough. Even in the middle of, what, 5 people? How's the population of Peterborough? Is it 5, 6? Even in Peterborough. I'm teasing. I'm sure there's more than 6 people in Peterborough. In fact, did we look this up the other day, actually? What is the population of Peterborough? Let me see here. I'm sure we looked this up there one time. Is just gonna get jiggy with it. And I don't mean in a P Diddy way. Well, getting jiggy with it is actually Will Smith. So yeah, P Diddy ain't nothing to do with that. P Diddy ain't got nothing to do with that. But even still, yeah. I'm asking Gemini. What the population of Peterborough is. A few 100,000 in Peterborough, and Gemini confirms that. The population of Peterborough is estimated to be around 218,130 as of mid-2022. So as of about a year and a half ago, it's around 220, just under 220,000. But you must see a lot of the same people like all the time, like going to the shops and stuff like that. You must see a lot of the same people just all the time. Like there's a point where it's like, you got to be careful who you go out with in a small town. You know what I mean? I feel like any time you have a population of less than 300,000, you got to be careful you got to be careful who you go out with anyway. Let's be clear. You got to be careful who you go out with just anyway, regardless of how big the population is. But especially in a small town where you got a small population, you got to be extra careful about who you go out with, because like everybody knows everybody, right? You know, in towns like that, everybody knows. Well, not everybody. I'm exaggerating to a degree, but you probably know a good number of people in Peterborough. You know what I mean? Like you know the people at your local shops. You know the people at your maybe who teach at the school. You know the people who I don't know, maybe you see people at the bus stop and you see them on a regular basis. You know, of course, your next door neighbors. You know, things like you got your friends, and then of course they know people. And I feel like there's, if you go out with somebody and it goes wrong, it's like everybody's gonna know about it. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's gonna know your business. Everybody's knowing your business. Like you go out with somebody, you go out for a little bit, it doesn't work out, and 2 days later, the whole town knows exactly what went down, and you're like, what? I didn't even tell nobody. You don't have to. They know. Somebody saw something and said something, even if the girl didn't say nothing. Like somebody saw something and was like, "Ooh, that Alan and his missus, I think they're having a bit of a tiff, you know." And then before you know it, the whole town knows. The whole town knows. You go to the shop to get your milk. Mr. Johnson at the milk shop is like, "Yeah, you break up with that lass you were dating?" Like, what? I must say, Alan, I don't like the way you treated her. It's like, oh, I treated her great. What are you talking about? It's not what I heard. It's not what I heard. Whole town knows. Same shit, different day, for real. The whole town knows. Well, you gotta be careful where you step. Well, I don't know. I think it might be kind of cool to live in a small town, though. It might be cool to live in a small town. I mean, I think it'd be cool to live in a small town as long as things go well. Like, so I feel like if you're in a point in your life where you're not really, you know, you're kind of past a lot of that stuff anyway. Like, you know, maybe you're already married. You know, maybe your kids are grown up. You know what I mean? You're retired, that kind of thing. I feel like living in a small town when you're retired is probably a good move. From where I live in Peterborough, so nosy they can tell when. Well, exactly. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. He goes to the bus stop, waiting for the bus. I don't know. Let's make up a name. Mrs. Thomas. Mrs. Thomas is at the bus stop. You say, "Hello, Mrs. Thomas, how you doing?" She's like, "Oh, hi, Alan. You doing all right?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm doing all right." He's like, "Hey, Alan, you know, if you poop a lot, it might mean you need to get..." Like, wait, what? oh, I'm just saying, like, if you're pooping like 5 times a day, you might want to go see a doctor. Like, wait, who told you this? Like, well, you know, everybody knows. Everybody knows. That could be a horror movie. Everybody knows. Oh, did I press? Oh, are we good? Everybody knows. In the town of less than 300,000 people, a man who just wants to live a quiet life, but everybody knows his business. Did you get your ingrown toenail checked? How do you know? From the people who brought you Halloween. Everybody knows your business. That's what our next move. Everybody knows. He knows exactly. You know what? Might need to write something down, actually. I might need to write something down. Let me see here. Oh no, I'm worried now. He's going. You know, you gotta write down your ideas when they come to you. I mean, I think we all kind of know that, but yeah, you really gotta write down your ideas as they come to you, because it's so easy to forget stuff. And the problem I have is that sometimes ideas come to me while I'm driving, and then it's like I can't write it down while I'm driving, and especially if I've got a passenger in my car, I can't even like put the AI, what you call it, the voice assistant on, because I sometimes use a voice assistant when I'm driving and be like, you know, remind me to do whatever. But you can't even do that when you got a passenger in the car. So I'm just trying to remember these ideas that I have sometimes, and it's like by the time you get to the end of the journey, it's like I've completely forgotten it. You're just like, damn it, again. Thank you for keeping me company on the walk. It's all good. It's all good. Appreciate you listening. Isalyn. Appreciate you listening, Isalyn. By the way, am I saying your name right? Isalyn or Isaline or Aislinn? I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but if I'm saying it wrong, let me know. Let me know how it's pronounced. Definitely scary with your voice playing out loud, or the mean streets of Norway. I'm sure the little puppy's keeping you safe, barking at the strangers, growling. You get away from my mum. You get away from my mum. You gotta be careful with little dogs. Little dogs are friendly to their owners, especially Chihuahuas. It's pronounced Isalyn, kinda. Okay, Isalyn. Okay. Esaline. I'm gonna try and remember that. Esaline. 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 How you doing, Esaline? I've got to elongate that bit. How you doing, Esaline? My puppy got scared of a frozen poop. Oof. Yeah, he's not scaring nobody either way then. He's not scaring nobody. And yes, that's correct. Awesome. Esaline. Esaline. From Scandinavian. Esaline, the Scandinavian. So being from Norway though, you possibly have Viking heritage. Would that be right? Because that would be that whole area, like Scandinavian area of like Norway. Well, I think, yeah, Norway, Finland. Yeah, Scandinavia is a sub-region of Northern Europe with strong historical, cultural, and linguistic ties between its constituent people. Yeah, that'd be, let's see here. Yeah, Vikings. So we got, yeah, Denmark, Norway, Sweden. Which excludes Denmark, but includes part of northern Finland. In English, Scandinavia is sometimes used as a synonym with Nordic countries. Iceland and Faroe Islands are sometimes included in Scandinavia for their ethno-linguistic relations with Sweden, Norway, Denmark, while Finland differs from other Nordic countries in this respect. Some authors call it Scandinavian due to its economic and cultural similarities. My grandmother on my dad's side is German though. Okay, it's only half Viking then, I guess. Only half Viking, but still, that's still some Viking heritage. Still some Viking heritage. Just looking at pictures of Vikings now. Possibly some of your ancestors I've got on screen right now. Let's see if I could show you some of them. There we go. Possibly some of the Isaline's ancestors. Yeah. It's a whole thing though, like with like, do you watch the Marvel movies? Like, what do you think of like Thor in the Marvel movies? Because is that something that bothers you, the fact that they deviate so much from the Norse mythology? Or is it something where you're like, yeah, I don't even care. I don't even care. It's not that deep. This will come as no shock, but that Jake Paul versus Tyson was pathetic. Shouldn't have even gone ahead, to be honest. You know what? I disagree with that, actually. after watching the match, I disagree with that. I'm going to tell you why I disagree with that. I think it's cool that they made movies about it. Okay, awesome. I like the Marvel movies. I mean, they definitely get pretty silly, but that's kind of why I like them. But when I think because they get silly, when they do get serious, it hits harder. But yeah, I do like the Marvel movies. I'm very much invested in that whole cinematic universe more than I probably should be. But yeah, so the thing about the Jake Paul and Tyson fight is I would agree with you before if they thought like this doesn't need to happen. It's nothing. Nobody's got anything to prove. Tyson said he doesn't have anything to prove. It doesn't really matter who wins, so to speak, because it's like you're fighting a guy who's more than just about twice your age, you know, who's he was, you know, the baddest man on the planet, Iron Mike Tyson, when he was in his youth, but he's not that guy anymore. He hasn't been that guy for a long time now. So it's like you win, it doesn't mean anything. You lose, is like, you know, who cares? You know, he's not a good. I mean, Jake Paul's not exactly what you call a good boxer anyway. He's okay. I mean, he's not a slouch, but not the level of like actual boxers. So yeah, I would agree with that. But then after the match and after watching it, I felt my opinion kind of changed a little bit, in that part of me does still agree that it probably just didn't really need to happen. But then, you know, I think from Tyson's perspective, it's like you kind of feel like you got to prove yourself a little bit, not to the other people, but to yourself. You know, like it doesn't matter that he lost. I don't think he went in there. And by the way, this is just me speaking. Of course, I have no idea what's on his mind, right, or what his thought process was. I'm kind of guessing to some extent. Well, I'm guessing completely, but I feel like perhaps his thought process was something on the lines of, you know, you want to prove something to yourself, not about everybody else. I don't care what everybody else thinks of it, but you want to prove something to yourself that, you know, it's not about winning and beating Jake Paul, so to speak, but going the distance and knowing that you can go the distance, knowing that you can still do that, you know, on that level. You know what I mean? I feel like that was part of it. And yeah, maybe that's not the best reason to you know, put your livelihood or your well-being in at risk. But I feel like that was part of it, just that idea of, look, you know, when his career ended, it didn't end well, right? And then maybe that's something that haunted him for a while. I'm guessing that maybe that weighed on his mind a little bit. He just wanted that kind of one last thing to be like, you know what? It doesn't matter if I win or lose, but I can be at this age, at my fitness, and go the distance. So like, yeah, that's kind of how I've been thinking about it, you know, after the match. So yeah, it wasn't the greatest boxing match of all time, but I don't think anybody's truly expecting it to be, you know, or shouldn't be anyway. So yeah. Still, they made movies about the Norse history, so I find it cool, although I haven't watched all of them. Yeah, there's a show called Vikings, which I've not watched. I think it was on Amazon, but it got moved to another channel, because I think it's a movie now or something. I don't know, but yeah, I've not watched that. But they've been running for a while, I think. There we go. So yeah, Vikings TV series. It's 3 seasons long. Or maybe not. No, it's more than 3 seasons. Actually been going for a long time. That's 6 seasons long. The one I've seen and it made me angry. Oh, okay, so we'll leave that alone then. We'll leave that one all the way alone. We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. Names are wrong. And their history too. Off. Well, in that case, let's leave it all the way alone. You probably know this actually, but Friday is actually named after Freya from Norse mythology. And well, Thursday is from Thor. Wednesday is from Odin. Tuesday, I don't know, but Monday is to do with the moon, like Luna, something like that. But yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are named from Norse. There was so much slavery done by the Vikings. Eesh, yeah. Yeah, did they try to sweep it under the rug or something, or do one of those things where they pretend it didn't happen? We don't need to go there, do we? So we say Mondag, Thursdag, Onsdag, Torsdag, Fredag, Lørdag, and Sundag. I'm sorry if I said all those wrong. That's the weekdays. Mondag, Thursdag, Onsdag, Torsdag, Fredag, Lørdag, Sundag. And they took mostly women and children, and yes, they were white. But the women and the children were slaves in Viking times. Damn. Yeah. History can be horrible, isn't it? But it's important to know it so that we don't repeat it. It's important to know the stuff that happened so we don't repeat it, so that we can learn learn lessons from the past and not repeat the past. At least we should be doing that. It doesn't always go that way now, does it? It doesn't always go that way. Indeed. There's a new show on Amazon called Cross. It looks pretty cool, actually. It's only just started. It's only one season so far, 8 episodes, but it might be a while before I get around to that. There's so much stuff I want to watch. Everything's like, oh man. Yes, we have the cliff where women were thrown off if they were suspected of being witches. Eesh. So can be interesting. Yeah, that was the whole thing about witches as well, isn't it? Where if a woman was accused of being a witch, there was the cliff test, and there was also the drowning test. So like, if you threw them off a cliff and they fell and died, that means they wasn't a witch, right? But if they fly away, that means they was a witch. They are a witch, and they have to, you know, be executed for being a witch. Or the drowning test is like, yeah, if you throw them in the lake, if they swim, they're a witch. So you hang them, you execute them. If they drown, then it means it wasn't a witch. And you're like, wait, who came up with this test? Like, who sat there and was like, yes, this is a good test. Like, This is fair. Came with more new rules and regulations. There's a clear backpack policy and can't be over a certain size. And teens under 18 can't be at without a grown person at a certain time. Well, you better make sure grown-ups go with you then, Brax. You better make sure you got a grown-up with you. I see it has so much history of this, which burn into, damn. Which city is that, if you don't mind saying? Is that Oslo? If you don't mind saying, of course. If you'd rather not say, I understand. I do understand. Stavanger. And they even made some houses here with different windows so that witches couldn't fly through them. Such a silly history, damn. I mean, I guess in the time where people believed in witches and stuff like that, you know, and, you know, things of those lines, I guess to them it was like, I mean, you know, they you know, back then they didn't have the benefit of, you know, science, right? They didn't have the benefit of science back then. So they believed in things that we now know are just incorrect and not true. But okay, let's try and put ourselves in the mind of a person back then where he believed in witches and stuff along those lines, and he thought these things were true. There's still this whole thing like, okay, if you really believed like your wife was a witch, then maybe don't piss her off. You know what I mean? Like, if you believed your wife was a witch, maybe don't piss her off. Like, maybe don't, you know, maybe clean the house up once in a while so she doesn't cast a spell on you. Like, if you really believe that. The house is from the Salem witch trials. Is still here today, from the 1600s to now. What, they museums now? Or like gift shops, I'm guessing, or something like that. Population of Stavanger is approximately 149,000 as of 2024. Raw, that is even smaller than Peterborough. You have less people than Peterborough in Stavanger. That's crazy. You really must know everybody in your city. You know what I mean? You really must know everybody. You think Alan's got to be careful? You got to be extra careful in your city. 149,000 people. Man, you could probably name all of them. You probably went to school with at least half of them. The Puritans only read and follow one book, the Bible. Any other book was considered unholy, and they believed the devil or demons were in the woods. Yeah, building museums now. Yeah, I thought so. That makes sense. That makes sense. Speaking of that, though, I did hear like apparently there's people burning books in America, or sorry, banning books. Excuse me, people are banning books in America. Is that true? Am I hearing correctly? That there's a whole bunch of books getting banned in America. Almost. Okay, we're gonna have to test you. 149,000 people, man. So if you have a boyfriend, right, and then you break up with your boyfriend, and then you have like your friends, and your friends are like, oh no, we'll never go out with a boy that you dated because we're friends and we're sisters and we don't do that sort of thing. You can't really now, can you? Like, because there's not really much choices. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't really do that sort of thing. It'd have to be like, I mean, who else is there? Like, if your friend wanted to date your ex-boyfriend, it's like, yeah, there's nowhere else. It's like, there's no other choices. Like, it's just the old guy down the road. Is like, oh no, he's too old. And one creepy dude is like, jeez. There's no sisterhood. It's like, you can't do that. You can't be like, oh, I'll never date the ex-boyfriend of one of my friends. We just never do that. We never do that. It's like, limited choices though. Literally. Honestly, don't care if someone wanted to date my ex, they can. Let them have him. To be honest, that stuff shouldn't matter anyway. Some people get really into really like, you know, upset about that sort of thing. Like if a friend went out with somebody that they used to go out with. I mean, unless he was like a real bad guy, I feel that's different. Like if he was like a really, really bad person, then yeah, you can't be, no, like I'm talking about somebody who like really mistreated somebody like abusive, you know, that kind of thing, then yeah, I feel like in those cases, then yeah, you can't be dating somebody that was that horrible to somebody that you care about. But generally, if it's just like it didn't work out, you know what I mean, like you went out for a little bit and it just didn't work out, and that happens. But people still get like really upset if their friend went out with somebody that they used to go out with, and it's like, well, you used to go out, you not anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, it should, that stuff to me shouldn't matter. It actually shouldn't matter. But yeah, people be into it. They'd be like, no, how dare you? How dare you? It's like, listen, if you still have feelings for somebody, just say that. But if you don't, it's all good. It's all good. I'm not going with someone who went out with someone else I know. Shake my head, no. I mean, why not though? Why not? Like I say, unless it's somebody who was like a really horrible person, then yeah, I think that's different. But generally, it's like, so what? Like, I really don't think that matters. I honestly don't think that matters, because if you had a friend and your friend was dating a girl and, you know, it didn't work out, and she's a nice girl, maybe it just wasn't between him and your friend, it just wasn't compatible. But it could be between you and her, you are compatible. It could be between you and her that you get along just fine. And in that case, it's like, yeah, so what? Like, so what if she dated somebody you know? You know what I mean? It's like, literally, so what? Like, if he's a friend, he shouldn't want to hold you back from meeting somebody that can make you happy and you can make happy. You know, it doesn't matter that they went out before. It's like, it didn't work out with them. So unless like your friend still has feelings for her, or she still has feelings for him, or, you know, that kind of thing, then it's all kind of complicated, and people should just be honest with themselves. But if that's not the case, and it's like, look, they went out, it didn't work out between them. She's a good person, he's a good person. It just wasn't meant to be. But then you're looking at it like, I think we might have something to, and she's looking at you like, I think we might have something to. Then yeah, go for it, man. Go for it. It's like your friend should want you to be happy. You know what I mean? Your friend should want you to be happy. And if that's with somebody, so is that you used to date? It's like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? It's like, all right. I don't get why they would be upset if you're not together. Exactly. You're not together anymore. So it's like, why be upset? Unless, So if you still have feelings for the person, then that's you need to be honest about that. You know what I mean? People aren't honest about certain things. I feel people aren't honest about certain things. Like they would be like, "Oh, I don't care about him no more. I don't care," but they didn't really do. It's like, no, be honest. If you have feelings for somebody, then say that. Then say that. But other than that, if it's like a thing, you went out, didn't work. Let's move on. It's time to move on. It tells me something right there. That means they were together behind the scenes. Just my view. Nah, I don't. Don't mean that. Don't mean that at all. See, that's overthinking. That's okay. I'll tell you what. Like, if you was with a girl, right, and the very day you broke up, she's with your best friend. Yeah, maybe in that case you might have a point. maybe in that case you might have a point. If like the very moment you broke up with a girl, she's openly dating your one of your friends, it's like, yeah, maybe in that case you might have a point. But if it's a case of like, okay, you broke up with somebody and then it's like, I don't know, months later or something or whatever it is, and it's just like, hey, you know, I'm kind of feeling you and I think you might be feeling me. And yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. That ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. But you can't be out here being too suspicious of people. Sometimes you're just gonna give people the benefit of the doubt as well, because even if, and the thing is, even if they were doing it behind your back, the point is you broke up anyway. So it's like, it is what it is. It is what it is. Like, if they were dating behind, if they're doing something behind your back, it is what it is. It is what it is. No, some of these AI tools are so expensive. Like Google Gemini. Like I have the free version of Google Gemini, and it works pretty well. I'm kind of digging it, right? But if I wanted the advanced version of Google Gemini, I've got to pay £19 per month. That's a lot, especially when it's like I'm not entirely sure what the difference is going to be. Like, what can Google Gemini Advanced do that Google non-advanced doesn't do? And more specifically, how does that benefit me to warrant paying £19 a month for? That's what I'm not clear on. That's what I'm not clear on. Like, I'm going to pay £19 a month for something. I'm not sure what the difference is or how it's going to benefit me in any way, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not sure that all the extra stuff is worthwhile for me. It might be worthwhile for somebody, I'm sure it is, but I'm not sure it's worthwhile for me. I think I'm okay with the free version for now. Maybe that changes someday, but I think right now I'm okay with the free version. For £19 a month, I'm not sure. It's I don't know, maybe I need to watch a video on YouTube or something about what's the difference between the free Gemini and the advanced Gemini. I might need to do that. But I do think I'm learning about AI. I was talking, a little while ago about learning stuff. AI is one of those things I think that people got to learn, because whether you like it or not, AI is here to stay. AI scares me. You know what? I think my opinion on AI has changed in the last few months. Like when they first started talking about a lot of this new generation of AI chat GPTs and how advanced they are and stuff like that. Like, and especially when they started talking about the potential that it could replace people's jobs and, things like that, right? I was looking at it like, this is a bad idea. Like, I don't think we should be trying to replace people's jobs. But the more I learn about it, the more I understand about it, the more I'm like, you know what, AI isn't going to replace anybody. Not really. Not really. Like, I think there'd be people who would try to get AI to replace people, but ultimately I think those would inevitably fail because you can't replace people. Like, I think people are far more advanced and far more intricate and complicated than any AI could ever be, you know? So I don't think AI would ever replace people. I think learning to use AI tools can definitely help people in various ways, whether it's with research, whether it's with writing, or whether it's with, you know, things like that. But I don't think it would ever replace people. I don't think AI arts would ever replace artists. I don't think AI script writing would ever replace script writers. You know, I don't think AI voice work would ever replace voice artists. You know, I think there's always going to be a need for humans to be artists, or to do anything really. So yeah, I feel like it's good to learn about it, and it's good to use it, and use it in ways that can benefit you. But if you're trying to use it to replace, like some people, I've heard of people who would generate a whole video using AI, a whole video script using AI, and just like run with it. I don't think that's a good idea because it's generic. There's no personal touch to it, and it might be a decent enough video, but you know, that's all it ever be. It's alright. I think when they start making fake voices and videos of politicians, then it's over. Yeah, some of that AI stuff is pretty advanced where they could like fake somebody's voice. That's where yeah. But there's ways you can tell. There are ways you can tell. I don't know what those ways are. There are ways you can tell. But for the average regular Joe, definitely gotta be careful with what you see on the internet, especially when it's like a voice and no video, and it's like, oh, this is what, I don't know, whoever politician said on a podcast, and you're just hearing a voice and no video. You're like, definitely be a bit skeptical of that. I can't tell the difference. Some of them are really good. Like, I mean, depending on who it is, I feel like I might be able to tell the difference. You know, depending on if there's a voice I'm more familiar with. But yeah, a lot of them I probably won't like. Hey, maybe I'm the AI. Can you tell the difference between... Can you tell if I'm the AI, if I'm the real one? Am I real or am I an AI clone? Maybe you are. Maybe. So it's not a definitive answer. Well, should I tell you the answer? Or shall I keep you guessing? I already told you I can't. I think I'm the real version. I guess in truth, if you was a really good clone, the clone wouldn't know that they're a clone, right? Because all your memories would be cloned as well. So you wouldn't really know if you're the clone or if you're the prime, right? You wouldn't really know. So if I was the clone, I wouldn't know that I'm the clone unless I was a really bad clone. Then I'd know I'm a clone if I'm a bad clone. If I'm a good clone, I wouldn't know. It's like those, you ever watched that show, Battlestar Galactica, where they had the, what they call it, I can't remember what they called, silicates? I forget what they called. But they had these robots, androids, that were, you know, looks human. You know, they had human skin and everything else, right? And they had memories of their childhood and growing up and stuff like that. So they believed they were human. And the only way they could ever find out if they were robots is if they were cut and you could see like the, you know, the metal skeleton underneath. But other than that, they themselves didn't know that they were robots, you know, because they had memories all implanted and all that sort of stuff. So they, as far as they knew, they were a genuine person. So I'm just saying, if I'm a good clone, I wouldn't know I'm a clone. If I'm a bad clone, I would know I'm a clone. But if I'm the prime, I would know if I cloned somebody or not, if I cloned myself or not. So the question is, do I know if I've cloned myself? And I couldn't do the helicopter this year at the States Fair because when we went there, there was some uncertainty about the weather. Some rain was moving out of the area, but it was some drizzle. Okay, now you gotta be careful with that. I believe if you told me you're AI. Mind blown. Hopefully next year when we go, it'll be a clear day and night. Then I'll do it. It's been 30. The $30 for the helicopter the past few years, but when I first got on it in 2015, it was $50, I think. Okay, so it's come down in price. Nice. It's rare things come down in price, so good one, good one. I'm not the clone. I'm not an AI clone. I think. I feel like I'm relatively sure I'm not an AI clone. I'm relatively certain. I'm about 99% certain I'm not an AI clone. I don't know if that's certain enough, but I'll be off to bed with nightmares of clones and AI. Oh, I'm sorry. I ain't mean to frighten you. Hopefully you have sweet dreams. Hopefully puppy cuddles up with you and gives you sweet dreams, so that you can wake up feeling really refreshed and really great in the morning and not wondering if you're a clone or not. But you know what, speaking of that, it is getting late. It is getting late for me anyway. Appreciate you, E. Celine. Good night, sleep tight. And yeah, hopefully see you next week. And I'll get a golden dog tag chain made 2 next year when we go. The specific one I want is also $30. It's much cheaper to buy some jewelry or get some made at the fair than at the mall or store when I get made. Name on it or snake. Get one that says Jim Hopper. Jim Hopper. No, I'm talking about, by the way, big up. But yeah, it's getting late. It's that time of the day where we start winding down. I gotta get ready to go to bed and wake up in the morning and drive in and work and stuff. I guess that means I'm not a clone because clones don't need, I guess that means I'm not an AI clone because AI clones don't need to sleep. So I think that means I'm not an AI clone if I need to go to sleep and have to go to work. AI clones don't have to go to work, so I'm pretty sure that means I'm not the AI clone. I ain't gonna lie to you, AI clone sounds like it's a better life. They don't have to sleep and they don't have to work. I mean, I like sleep, don't get me wrong, but I feel like if you didn't actually need, like if you never got tired and you didn't need to sleep, you could just be up and just do cool stuff all day and you never actually get tired, like you know. But I don't know, would that be a good life? You could just be up all day, every day, never get tired and never get fatigued and never have to sleep and just do cool stuff. I don't know, that could be cool. You get a lot done. You can get a lot done. You can have some fun, have some parties, but then also get some work done as well and not have to worry about splitting your time, you know? So I'm just saying maybe the AI clone might have a better life actually. They don't have to work and they don't have to sleep. They just do cool stuff all day, every day. Like that sounds like a good life. I ain't gonna lie to you. But yeah, alas, I'm not the AI clone, so I do have to sleep and I do have to work. So oh well, maybe in the next life you see me on my clone. Well, if it's a good clone, then I may not know. Young woman paid make a young woman paid make $1,000 or $2,000 to have a late cat cloned. Just looked that up. But she paid $25,000 for it. Oof. Yeah, it's a bit much. You don't need that. You don't need that. Y'all can have that. Guys, you have been awesome as always. I appreciate you and all that you do. Thank you for keeping me company. Thank you for keeping it lively. Should be live streaming again next week, about the same time, 8 p.m. ish, inshallah, GMT. During the week, just let's say I could post a video or two, try and post some shorts, videos, and maybe a video of me rambling about something as well. So look out for that, and if indeed I do post those. But if not, then yeah, should be back next week. But until whenever, if ever, peace.